one.
I don't believe that for 1 second. I don't believe it. This is a big day on this podcast. Huge. I've been brushing up on my sports knowledge.
Let me find out what you got in you.
Okay.
Really not much.
Yep. Gonna be short.
You know, all you gotta do is look at a couple of bios real quick and you say, oh, I got it.
No worries, I wikied you.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I know all about
That's what
you.
they do.
You guys, welcome to the Hey Frase podcast. I am your host, Sarah. Fraser, producer AJ is in studio. I am so excited about today's show. I have been working to get this man on with his people for many, many months. It is our first major sports figure ever to appear on the Hey Frase podcast. He is wildly popular in the DC area, and not to mention throughout his NFL career. We are just blown away and so excited, and I'm just trying to, keep appropriate for you. And you do have like a major NBC job. So I'm trying to, figure which questions I can really ask you, Santana Moss.
I mean, that intro alone, just, I'm flattered. I'm humbled. Thank you for having me today.
No, you don't understand. First of all, and I already said to myself, you're a married man. You've been with your wife for years. You have 5 kids. I thought, I'm not going to get inappropriate and talk about how hot you are. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not going to go there because you're
cool.
really.
Sarah has jungle fever.
When you have social media, people are going to talk and do what they want to do anyway. So it's cool. It's
so you don't mind?
You just got to know how to take that.
How does your wife feel about that?
I won't even ask the question.
We ain't even going to get into it.
I don't want to know.
Look, former NFL player, wide receiver, Santana Moss is our guest today. And of course, you know him. He played many, many years with the Redskins. I've been anxious to have you on because I want to talk about your career, your life. You also now have a very successful podcast called The Santana Moss Show. Mm-hmm. As I mentioned, you're on NBC. And you just continue to be such a great broadcaster. You've parlayed.
Trying.
Well, you're doing it. Do you like it? Do you like doing the broadcast side of it?
To be honest with you, in my wildest dreams, I would have never thought I'd be doing what I'm doing now.
Really?
Yeah, I tried to stay away from them guys when I was playing. Like, one of the things I knew was it was my duty. I learned early, in my career that I had a duty as being a professional ball player that when these guys put that camera in my face or that mic, I have to speak up for myself and for the team. And I didn't take that, too well when I first got into the league. I like to do my thing, and to me, the less you see me outside of the field, I'm okay, So right. I like to just do my thing on the field and leave me alone. That's how I wanted my space. I'm one of those guys that love my own space. I love to be off and,
So now that you're on the end of, you're talking about, you're commenting on sports all the time. And I really love chatting with you because Hard Knocks is like one of my favorite shows to watch. And you were saying to me, it's on HBO and it follows a team every year. You were saying that when you were in it and playing, you couldn't watch any of that.
No, I didn't like watching it because, some of the things you see on some of these outlets, some of it is negative or portrayed to be negatively. You know what I mean? So I didn't want to see some of the things that I'm like, man, that's false. Or you have people come to you, man, so that's going on, or this is going on. Hard Knocks is something that's really actually going on. It's like reality TV
of football of the NFL.
So when I watch that, I would tune in and see a couple of guys in training camp, but most of the time it was during training camp. And I didn't want to see other guys going through what I was going through at the time. My mind wanted to be clear of what I just experienced that day. So watching them practice and go through the emotions, I didn't want to see it. So now that I'm removed from it, I tune in. I'm front and center looking at what's going on because you want a piece of that. You want to keep yourself involved in what you know best.
Well, and I want to talk about your career as a Redskin. Of course, in this town in DC, everybody talks about the Redskins.
Yes.
This town sort of hinges as far as like happiness on if the Redskins are doing well, if they're not doing well. And unfortunately, for the past several years, that organization seems like it hasn't done well. And I think it's fascinating that you're here today because you have an inside look into that. And then, I just want to talk in general about you have a gorgeous family, your kids, how you keep all that together. You seem like such a well-rounded, individual. It's great to see you having all this success.
Sometimes, you feel like this, when you see someone walk the way they walk, you don't always really know them. All you can just take from what you see. And that's me, in a nutshell. I'll be honest with you. I'm not perfect. And I'm far from perfect.
Oh, good. Let's talk about that.
But I just try to do me.
How bad?
Who knows? I don't know if you can put it on a scale and say, well, he's terrible. But I'm not perfect. No doubt. I just try to handle business, though. I'm always been a guy that take care of business. Regardless of how I do it. It might not be the way you know or someone else know, but I do it the way I know. And as long as everybody getting taken care of, that's all I care about.
So tell me this. Tell me about your years playing for the Redskins, because you played 10 seasons with the Redskins, which is an incredible amount of time as a wide receiver. How did you end up at the Redskins organization?
Well, I was drafted in 2001 by the Jets. Spent 4 years there. The 4 years I spent there, to be honest with you, there was better than the 10 years I spent here when it comes to playing wise, as far as seeing the postseason. 3 out of 4 years I was in the postseason and playing on the big stage. So, when it comes to that part of the game, you're like, man, it's all, I always say the grass isn't always greener. To me, leaving New York, the grass was greener over here for me. I mean, I just felt like they wanted me more. They wanted to use me like I wanted to be used. And it was a time for me to go. Some things happen for a reason. You have to go someplace or learn from someplace to go elsewhere. Right. And I felt like that was like my stage of go to New York, grow up, and then now it's time for you to go play some real football. And I did that. And when I got here in 2005, I mean, we hit off like a good girlfriend and boyfriend who met for the first time, and it was, hard eyes or whatever you want to call it, and I love you at first sight, all that stuff. That's how my first year was with the Redskins. I mean, week 1, week 2, week 3, it was like a smash, and it was all a blur because it was happening so fast, and before you know it, now we in the postseason again. I'm riding high. I'm like, man, I can get used to this. But 9 years after that, I saw that postseason only 2 other times. Wow. So in 10 years, which I love these every bit of every year here, the ups, the downs, the climbing back into the the race of thick of things. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed those experiences here. And even that's why I'm still here in the area now. But when it comes to the playing side of it, you can probably say that, or arguably say that, my ball years in New York, I had better experiences when it comes to having that chance to go to the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that like a big regret for you, by the way, that you never got a Super Bowl ring? I've got to think, what's fascinating to me about professional athletes and why I think we adore professional athletes in this country is the level of play that you have to keep up is just insanity.
Yeah.
And you are such an elite group of people. When you watch Hard Knocks, you watch these guys that are massive. My God, they give their lives. Their families are sick. They go anyway. And it's like such a small shot to make it happen. And you've been in that room. That's the part that when I look back and seeing the things that I did, the things I sacrificed to be where I was at, and to have the afterlife that I'm having now, I think back often and say to myself, if I'd have did things differently, would I've had the success? Right. Because trust me, I learned the hard way. Early in my career, it was bumpy. In what way?
I got hurt early. I got hurt my first year before I even played in a preseason game. Okay. Hurt my knee, and I was put on the shelf for like 12 weeks. Didn't play all the way until like week 13 or 12 of the season, my first rookie year. Right. And when I came off that injury, just the ups and downs of dealing with other injuries, because my body wasn't ready to go out there and run. I wanted to be the guy that I know I was just a year ago in college, and everything just wasn't lining up. And instead of me learning to say, okay, Tanner, you was put back for these amount of months. Now it's time for you to rebuild this body, or rebuild this body while you're put on the shelf, so when you come back, you'll be ready to go. I didn't go through those stages. I went back out there and thinking I could just beat old Tanner. And then you pull your groin, you pull your hamstring, you pull your quads. Now they're looking at you like, is he the guy that we really want? And then you telling yourself so now you have doubt. You don't know if this is going to be the career that you hoped it to be.
Okay, this is like my thing that I always want to emulate about you and other athletes, right? Is it seems like you have to develop a mental toughness that is insane. Because honestly, when you watch shows like Hard Knocks, or you watch ESPN, or you listen to your show, everybody's talking about you like basically you're just this disposable commodity all the time. Was that hurtful? I know I know you're a man. You probably don't. If it were me, I'd have so much self-doubt. I'd be like, oh my God, what's going on?
It hurts to the point to where that's why I didn't pay attention to it. Right. That's why when my friends was up, my friends will tell you right now, when I played, they knew that when Tanner come down those stairs, when they start seeing them slides come down those stairs, those bearing shoes, turn from whatever they watching sports-wise, ESPN, whatever it is, NFL Network, whatever it is talking about, different teams, turn, because I didn't want to see or hear the stuff that was going on that I had to experience. Because
that would be the shit that got in your head, exactly. And you weren't
don't allow it. I'm big on negative energy. I don't like it. If you're negative you could be my best friend. I know you're negative. We could be best friends from afar. I just know when to have you around. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I just don't like people that have negative vibes. So if it was like, that's like I said, as far as the media, I sought out certain people and say, that's negative, he's negative, he's negative. Every time he writes about me, it's negative. Every time she says something about the team, it's negative. Every time he says something, all you guys that I felt that was negative, I wasn't no different to you than I was to the others who I liked, who talk well. I just made sure that I gave you less than I gave the others.
Right.
I didn't want to be around it.
How did you all those years kind of stay out of any, drama? Like, I love following, for better or worse, like Josh Gordon is an interesting figure to me. I mean, obviously addiction is such a terrible, thing, but you see a guy who's so talented, but yet continues to be in the headlines all the times for, unfortunately, having this amazing opportunity, but can't keep it together. How did you avoid, because going back and researching you, there were a couple of ups and downs. You were accused of using human growth hormone at some point. You had a little bit of a Twitter feud with RG3, but for the most part, for years, several seasons, you
knock on wood, cross your fingers, and pray.
Really? That was it?
I knocked on wood every day, and I prayed every night, and I just, honestly, it's hard, but some of those things I laugh about, like the human growth hormone thing. That cost me.
Story. How did that?
To me, that cost me a Pro Bowl and a new deal. I got a new deal, but I didn't get what I was expected to get from what I just, the product that I gave them. I didn't get it because I felt like me being caught up in something that I had no dealings with. It kind of shocked me.
Okay, but how does that happen? So, like, they randomly drug test.
No, so this would happen. That ain't got nothing to do with nothing. So, I was using a doctor that someone told me I had a bum knee.
Okay.
Bum knee. I'm talking about my knee was hanging. I went to Atlanta to my personal doctor, and he had a doctor that said, "Hey, let's check out this knee and see what we can do while it's in the off season, so we can get you right for the season."
Sure.
This is 2009 going into 2010 season. I go see this doctor in Atlanta, and he tells me immediately, "You got a year on this knee." I'm like, what?
Wow.
Hell no. So, any athlete that's told that you can't do something, they're going to push it to the extreme and prove you wrong or prove their self right in their mind and do what they have to do. So I heard about this doctor in Canada that gives me, I think at the time it was called Synvisc shots, where they're putting that liquid or gel in my knee so I won't be on bone.
Okay.
So that's what he was doing. I was going to Canada getting these shots from him, which they're nothing wrong with that.
Totally legal.
Everyone around the world gets those who has knee problems, who has, bone on bone. So that's legal, and he was a great doctor. Guys know him, worldwide. But he's not licensed to come over here and do a lot of that stuff. So you have to go over there. We was in training camp, and I didn't know at the time it was guys on my team that was using them too. I knew it was guys on other teams that was using them.
Sure.
And, I called them. Like, one of the things about me, if I need something done, regardless of what day and time or where, part of the year it is, I'm going to call and say, "Hey, I'm either coming to you or you coming to me. I got to go out here and practice. I need this work."
Yeah.
So at the time, I called him like, "Hey, I need you over here." And he was coming to see someone on the team already and some other guys on other teams. And his, I'm not sure if she's his assistant or someone who worked with him, had his bag. She got caught with his bag that had all his stuff, whatever he was using for every visit.
Sure, for anybody else, yeah.
I had, only thing that he had dealing with me at the time when she got caught and when he got caught was my name was on his ticket. So then whoever posted it was probably Washington Post. I don't know who it was.
Yeah,
but it was crazy.
They seem to be the ones.
It was crazy because the day before they came out with it, one of the guys came to me. It was almost like one of those, I'm finna throw him under the bus, but let's see if he run himself over. A guy came to me and said, "Santana, check it. If somebody on your team has been using human growth hormone," which we already knew the ins and out about that. That doesn't make you nothing.
And when you say the ins and outs, like, is everybody playing that game? Well, you see Julian Edelman?
Human growth hormone is, and I don't know the whole big facts about it all, but we all have it in us. And most of the guys that don't play ball or the actors and movie stars that get back into those shapes and stuff, they use it to get their stuff back. Human growth hormone
trying to take
is
it
basically
myself.
something that's going to make you feel like you're 18 all over again.
Yes,
when it comes to how your body heals. You know what I'm saying? So the guy came to me like, "Hey, we hear someone on your team is taking human growth hormone. How do you feel about it?" I was like, "Well, shit, that's their business. It's not mine. I don't care." He's like, "But you don't feel that, if they're doing that, they shouldn't be doing." I said, "Look, that don't make you play better. So at the end of the day, whatever they doing, they doing. If it's illegal, then they'll see about that. I have no dealings with it, so I don't care." Walked away from it. The next day I wake up. I swear it was a dream. ESPN has, Santana Moss has been, I forgot what they even said, but said that I was the guy using human growth hormone. So I'm like, let me lay back down, turn over, and maybe I'm just seeing things. And I woke back up, and then my phone's blowing up. Mike Shanahan, this is first year here. He like, hey, don't come to the Redskin Park. I want you to just stay home. I said, hell no, I'm coming. You gonna put my name in, you gonna involve me in this?
Right.
And I can't come and speak on my word, speak on my name. And he was like, look, Tanner, I know this doctor. I know him very well from guys who use him. Great doctor. Whatever happens, happens. But, we know already. If you saw me that year when they said this, I was 210 pounds.
Wow.
Worst shape of my life.
Wow.
We know human growth hormone makes you. Shit, give me some of that. I know I was like, man, look, I'm at my worst state right now. I haven't been running because of my knee. I haven't, been training because of my knee. And all I've been doing is trying to get this knee better. If I was taking that, I would look like, a specimen right now.
And how did that cost you a Pro Bowl? So
this would happen. This is why I say that. So you heard it blasted across ESPN. Later on that day before I left and went back to Miami, it was stated again, basically that, no, I had dealings with the doctor who was caught with it. See how they changed it?
Yeah.
Changed it as I'm the guy.
Welcome
and then
to
now
the media.
he have dealings with this doctor who was caught with it. So it don't make me look no better. It's just saying that, oh, well, we was wrong, but we're not going to admit that we was wrong. We're going to just post it again in a different light. So long story short, when I say it came in the front door and went out the back, that's how quick it was over. Like, I came back to practice the next week. 3 people asked me about it, and by Wednesday, no one bothered me again about it. Who was it at the time? Roger Goodell, whoever his name is, and whatever. He walks in, hey, I got to speak with you about this matter. We know that you ain't had nothing to do with it. We're going to act like we talking about something. Shook my hand. I walked out the door.
Wait, so Roger Goodell
He had to come here. He had to come here and address me because it was that kind of a matter. But he knew. Like, you can look at the research. Look at my body already. I'm at my worst state. So how can you put that on me? But it was somebody that we knew. I'm not going to say no names. It was somebody else doing it. And it just so happened that I made the ticket. So I take the blame. Why I say I missed out on a Pro Bowl that year, at 210 pounds, if you go look at me from all my playing years, 2010 season was Mike Shanahan's first year here. I caught 93 balls, the most I ever caught in my life as an NFL pro. At that time, I was 32 years old, I believe, 31 years old, caught 93 balls, never caught 80 plus ever. And at that state, I caught 93, had 1,100 something yards. Wow. I didn't get a vote for a Pro Bowl. I'm a shoe-in. I'm second in the league in catches.
Damn, do you think that basically that little thing?
No, I know.
That little thing.
I know, because that's how this league is.
Really?
I know, that's what they do. You know what I mean? So here I am, and it's my contract year. And it's my contract year.
Kind of using that against you?
No, it ain't kind of. It was used.
They use that against you to pay you less?
No. So I don't say they use it against me to pay me less, because they still pay me well. But if I go to that Pro Bowl, I'm getting more than what I got, because now I'm considered still a Pro Bowl caliber player. I put the numbers up, so you couldn't take that from me, but you couldn't have that not over your head saying that you still that caliber of a player. And so going into those negotiation periods in the offseason, and that was our lockout year. So having all that behind us, and I'm sitting there on my offseason in a lockout year, I'm sitting here like, I knew for a fact I can't use Pro Bowl with this whole talks of my new deal. And if I can use Pro Bowl, that's a couple of more, probably 100,000, million, you name it.
Does that still? I love like the passion of you talking about this. I'm sure it's.
It don't bother me now.
Does it bother you?
It bothered me then. It bothered me then because I like only me. I felt that way. I said,
why is this happening to me?
It always got no. And I'm not like why. I just felt like I've always found myself in something like that was going to hold me back when I did nothing. It was always going to be somebody else's doing that's going to cause me from eating like I supposed to. My due. I always felt like I gave it my all, so never cared about what somebody else made, never cared about what they gave me. Just give me what's due.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So
and when you did
at the end of the day, when I put up the numbers, just give me what I'm due. And when I got that deal, I looked at it like, see, this is an old man deal. This is that, you got a couple more years. But remember, they told me I ain't only had but one more year on this knee. No one else knew it. And I knew that,
After that, you went how many years?
So that was 2010. I played 4 more years. I played until 2014.
So tell me that, shifting gears a little bit, there's so much discussion about the Redskins organization, why they never seem to get it together. And this past weekend, they saw some of the lowest attendance ever at FedEx Field. So you have all the inside baseball about that. I listen to your podcast. I hear a lot of your thoughts, but what do you think is the Redskins organization is their biggest hang up that they can't seem to win?
I don't know. I wish I knew, because I've been searching myself, even as a player. I was searching to see, what is it about us that we can't seem to shake this cloud? And it's crazy, because we'll find a way to get it going, and then some odd reason we're back square one again. So I've been searching for that memo or something that's out there that's saying, here's your reason why you're not successful.
But this is what's fascinating. How does a Bill Belichick, year after year, with various combinations of play, what do you think is happening in that organization? Do you think he's just so rigid, but guys buy in?
No,
or do you think?
He does what he does well, but it's a lot of mad scientists behind the scenes that you don't know about.
You think? What kind of stuff?
I know. Just coaches that you never hear that get no credit for doing a great job. And I think sometimes it's about the makeup. But, I can't throw shade and say we don't have the makeup when it comes to in our organization, but I do believe it's some of the things that just need to be done. I love all the coaches that I played for. Some of them were sterner than others. Some of them probably was better coaches than others. But I just feel like at the end of the day, they only could do so much. I do believe that, it's about getting the guys in, the proper guys in. You can have pieces. One thing about football, people look at who you have. We got Alex Smith. We got Richardson. We got, this guy, that guy. You can have pieces. In my years, we had pieces. We had Cooley. You had myself. You had Portis. You had, you name it on defense. We had Sean Taylor. We had Sean Springs. We had Fred Smoot. We had Fred Davis. We had pieces everywhere. But if you're not stern in that front line, offensively and defensively, you can't win. You can put up all the numbers and points you want, but if these guys have to be the best on your team, they have to be the best of the best. If I don't have a great front on defense that's getting after the quarterback, look, me and D Hall talked the other day, and we watched the game. We in NBC studios getting ready for our shows, and I said, D Hall, one of the things I said, do you remember when we played New England and they had you on Wes Welker in the slot, and I got off the bench for that game because I want to see D Hall work on this guy. I know D Hall is one of the best corners that I faced every day in practice and every day watching him in the league. So I wanted to see him do work on a player who I thought highly of, but I also gave him a lot of credit because he had a guy like Tom Brady. I watched D Hall lock this guy up, but Tom Brady had a year to throw the ball. Wes Welker won 25 routes before he got the ball.
Oh, wow.
And by the time he got the ball, D Hall is exhausted. Wes Welker's exhausted because he done ran so many jukes and moves to get open. And I'm looking at D Hall shaking my head like, you're going to get killed today because your line ain't doing nothing. Our line wasn't doing anything. Wow. So when a quarterback has time, anyone can get open. It don't matter who you got prime time himself in his prime out there. If a quarterback has time for you to do second, third, fourth option routes, anyone could be open. So I've always been a big fan of seeing teams or playing against teams that had all that had the true makeup. That's what New England has. They find a way to have the best couple of guys up front to protect Tom. And we're going to fill in this because when it comes to skilled players, as long as you're skilled, as long as you have a skill, we can make you look better. We can make you better. That's one thing about having a great quarterback. I didn't necessarily have to be the Santana Moss who I was coming in or, for the things I've done. I could have been bigger or better than what I've shown. But I never had the guy that I can always just get, grow with.
Sure.
I had guys here and there. So I have a year with a guy and then he's going. I have another year with a guy and he's going. So it's hard to have musical chairs as a quarterback and being a receiver and having to see a different arm or a different face throwing you the ball every year. And that's something that we never had here to stick. And then we never had those guys up front to really be dominant on both sides.
You and I have obviously, we both podcast and do our shows out of Podcast Village. So I've run into you. I've had conversations with you outside of speaking to you live. Yeah. But people blame the Redskins organization lack of winning on Dan Snyder. And you said you've always had a good relationship with him.
I love Dan. Dan does so much. He bends over and beyond to make sure this team can be the team that we want it to be.
So you think that's wrong?
Look,
that
you gotta understand this. You gotta understand this. This is the thing that I separate myself from when it comes to people. Because a lot of people have what they have for Dan or the way they feel about Dan because how he handles business.
Got it.
The business part of the thing that I don't know nothing about.
Sure.
The only business I knew about is running between those white lines for him and how he treated me outside of those white lines. So at the end of the day, I will have the feeling that I have for him or have, praise him the way I do. But you got to understand something. Most dominant businessmen or successful businessmen have to be a guy you don't like.
Right.
They have to be a guy that, what, I really don't like him, but guess what? He's wealthy as all outdoors and he has numerous things working for him. So I don't knock him for being. That's why I'm living in an apartment. Yeah, I don't knock him for being the guy who he is. I just knock the people who really don't know him. Like, I understand the team hasn't been what everyone wants it to be. Trust me, I'm here too. I want it to be successful.
Right.
I want Coach Gruden to be a coach that we can see here next year and next year and next year. You want that one coach that can stay around and build something. And that's why I get so hard on the players, because I was once one of those guys in them locker rooms.
Sure.
F what the coach is doing. We have to be better. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I was always that guy. Like, what more can I do? Yeah. Now, if the coach fell short of giving me opportunities, then, yeah, I'm scratching my head and talking about his head, too. I might not talk about him in front of his face, but, yeah, man ain't throw me the ball today, so I ain't saying nothing to him. But to be real with you, man, we have too many right now. I look at our team. We got too much talent across the board for us not to look better. And so looking like the 2009 or the 2016, it ain't gonna make it. You have to be better. And these guys have the makeup, I feel, but also it's early. So I don't like to dwell on stuff. You don't
make predictions.
We talk all week about, week 2. It's week 3. Yeah, it's over. Those guys looking at it, it's over. What day it is? Wednesday?
Yes.
It's over. Once they came into the office today, it's behind you. How great, how bad, whatever it was you did on Sunday, it's behind you. Move on.
Okay, tell me this. Hold up your hand. By the way, why is every NFL player's pinky totally jacked up? Every NFL guy you see, is that
I got
just
more than
how?
Pinky,
wait, now
ring
what
finger,
is that?
Index.
Okay,
point
oh my
finger.
God, your camera's right here. Oh my Lord, these hands. Is that just from catching a football and landing on your hands?
Man. Nah, not landing balls, just breaking them. I broke this one. Vinny Testaverde broke this one. This one was broke before I became an NFL player, but it was re-broke by, I believe, even Donovan McNabb or RG. One of them broke that. And I remember this right here. See, it don't look that bad because I had a splint on it for a year, but I know RG got this one.
Oh my God. Are you worried by the time you'll be 80? All those, they'll be really separated.
I just live life, man.
You'll be able to put a baseball between those two.
Whatever's coming for me, I hope I get it all in before it comes.
All right, fuck it. I don't want to talk about sports anymore. I want to talk about your life outside of sports. Yeah. What do? You live in Virginia.
Yeah.
You live in Northern Virginia. You have 5 children. You've been married to your wife post-high school. That's amazing. How have you guys kept your relationship together? Because, when you were playing, you must have all these whores just throwing themselves at you.
By being private, that's how we keep it together. You just don't, you don't be out there in the spotlight with it. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, like I said, I'm a guy that be here mostly, and my family is in Miami. So I just, like I say, I move to a different beat. You know what I'm saying? Yep. I think that's the only way you can sometime, allow things to manifest. You can't always be up under somebody. And I'm him. I'm one of those guys that, next week you might see me and I have a different tone or a different, I'm a Gemini too. So I go through my days when I'm a different person, and I'm honest enough to tell you that it's me. That's why I say I can't be Mr. Perfect to you guys, because I'm not him. I'm far from him. So everybody lives life and everybody has their ups and downs, and I just try to make sure that mine's is mine's, and I don't have to worry about putting it out there all the time.
So how is it I'm sure playing in the NFL probably prepared you for being a parent, because, you have to motivate your kids, inspire your kids. So do you see yourself?
Way before then.
Really?
Way before then.
You were preparing to be a parent way before that?
Look, I'm gonna tell you this. I looked at my younger brothers like I was their dad when we was growing up. My dad and mom worked their behinds off every day. And when my dad wasn't around to do the things that, he was, that far as going out and playing catch and all that, I did that with my younger brothers. I remember at a time when you knew the schedule. Your mom would call you, say, I got this on the stove. It's already cooked. turn on this pot to warm it up, or put this in the mic. Everything is good. We'll be home. I'll be home at a certain time. You know, your dad, his hours was going to be. And so it's you. It's just you and your 2 younger brothers. What you going to do? So I'm the guy of the house right now. So I have to lead by example, and I have to make sure I keep these guys in line. And I don't remember a time of me not doing that. And that carry over to me being the guy that when we played ball or ran track, my parents didn't have to be out there because Tanner was going to handle it. I was going to be the guy to make sure my brothers had their bags packed, they had their lunches, they had everything. Even if we had to get to the park and they wasn't there, we was going to get to that park. I was going to make sure we got there. And I got a friend of mine, he passed away, and I share this story with a lot of folks. So my friends, I was one of those guys that grew up in a neighborhood where I saw almost 10 of my closest friends go to prison at the same time. You know, I lived in a neighborhood where it was gang violence. And from both sides.
You grew up in Miami?
Grew up in Miami.
Okay, in a suburb of Miami.
And this part is Carroll City, and that's which is called now Miami Gardens. And in Carroll City at the time where I stayed at called Myrtle Grove, it was an area called Myrtle Grove. A lot of my friends that and I called them friends because, we did everything together. From every day I woke up in the morning, I went to the park, that's who I played with. If we went to the candy store, Frozen Cup Lady House, that's what I did with these guys. It was a bunch of guys that just went to prison at the same time. And I was a guy there that my dad had been preaching to me so much, and I had been going to prisons to see my uncle so much that my dad told me stories about how he got in here, how this guy got in here, what I don't want you to do, what I don't want to see you doing when you're growing up. As a kid, you do the opposite at times. You say, well, you know what, my dad told me it was hot, but I still want to touch that stove. So me being that kid that always heard these preaching these long stories on my rides to go see my uncle locked up or just rides period, when I got outside with those friends that was doing some of the similar things, I was there with them, but I just wouldn't do it.
Right.
I wouldn't do it. I felt like I couldn't be that guy to say, well, since he's doing this, he's a bad person. No, that's my friend. Right. I just know better than doing it. So when my brothers then would come into that part, I would break off from those guys. I would break off and make sure they didn't get the chance to see what I saw, because I knew I was strong enough inside, my mental capacity where I was at that point of time in my life. I wasn't easily persuaded. You know what I mean? I was so focused on what I wanted. I was so focused on what I wanted out of life. I knew where I had just came from. I spent my first early childhood years in Liberty City. The things I saw there growing up before my brothers them even got a chance to walk and really see the things I saw, it was like no other. I literally seen the worst of the worst on my walks to school, outside my window at night. I saw the worst of worst. So to get a chance to go to Carroll City, and now you're living in a bigger house, it's bigger than where you was at. I was in a 1-bedroom with 5 people here, and then now I'm in a 3-bedroom with those same 5 people. You have your little space now, but it's no different in the streets. The streets are still the same. It's just a little different because now it's gangs and it's groups and it's cliques. So whenever I got a chance to be that father figure or big brother, I was a big brother always. To me, I was number one big brother. My friend told me when he got out of prison, he said, Lil Santana, he's always called me Lil Santana. His name was Duke. And he was an older guy. He used to literally knock on my door to get me out the house to play football with the older guys. And my dad's one of those dads. He'd come outside, so where you going with my son? And what y'all finna be doing? Like, he didn't play, he didn't play. Sure. And I'm sitting there like, man, let me go outside and play football. He like, nah, Mr. Moss, we finna go over here to the park. I got him. This man here, he's first round pick on my team. He's the baddest little shorty out here in the field. And my dad like, yeah, I know, but just make sure he get home safe. And every day I saw a kid or a person or a dude I knew get, helicopter come and get a guy because they breaking them up. I'm talking about we out there playing real smash mouth football, and I'm 12 years old and I'm playing with 18 and 19 years old. So I was always built that way. I was always built tough because of my upbringings from my uncles, cousins, growing up with them. And then now I'm seeing this stuff live and in color. But I knew that I had 2 younger brothers. And if I allowed them to see the things I saw, maybe they not as strong as me. Mentally, maybe they are, followers. I don't know. Right. So I don't want to chance it and find out the hard way. Let me give them somebody to follow me. So I did everything that I could do to make sure they didn't see it.
I can't believe you had that, just like you already had that thought instilled in you at like 10.
I told somebody, amazing. I told, and so that same guy, he told me when he was locked up, he was telling guys like, look, that guy right there, I knew he was going to make it. He said he was different from every kid in the block. Wow. He said I knew he was going. He said and he told me the story. He said, Tanner, I ain't never shared this with you. He say, but remember we used to be at the park and we'd be over there doing something wrong, probably shooting dice. They probably was smoking. They probably was doing whatever. And I'll be around. And, you know, I ain't gonna lie. You know, I partook in some of those things, but it was to a certain extent.
Yep.
And when I saw my brothers or saw my dad car, I break off. Let me slide out of here a little bit and make sure that no one saw me doing this. And let me go over. We kids. At the end of the day, you're going to try stuff. So he said, remember when you used to see those little boys walk through the gate? He said, man, all the guys around there. He said, you know, we used to be at another state of mind and we just having fun. But he said, we used to be like, oh, y'all so cute. Look at him playing with his little brothers. And I used to throw the ball to my little brothers. And we'd be in our own little world over there, just us three, having a little good time. And he said, man, we used to laugh at that so much. And then we see you the next day, you back around us. And we ain't say nothing about it. We giggle. We have little side jokes about it, but you would never know. He said, Tanner, when I was locked up, the first thing I thought about, I wish I had a brother like you.
Wow.
He's a guy who way older than me. This guy's got me by 6 or 7 years. And he said, Tanner, I wish I had a brother like you because you knew where you was at that young age, man. You knew something about what was around you. And he said, I don't know where it came from, but he said that's what made me know that you was always going to be who you were.
Do you sit back? I mean, obviously your kids have lived a completely different life than you did. I'm sure that it makes you incredibly proud of all your hard work. Is it also like, wow, I mean, how far they've come, and they're never going to know struggles like that you went through. Has that been tough?
I preach, man. I'm basically my dad all over again. You know how they have these commercials now, like
you become your parents.
Your parents. I'm him. My mom always say, you did like your damn daddy. I'm like, I don't want to be like my daddy. But no, I'm him. I talk, man. I know it's crazy because
people are. I just want to interrupt you for 1 second because we always stream live on Facebook. You can just follow my Hey Frase podcast. But people are saying, Santana, this is epic. Yeah. Janelle Harwood said, I've never actually heard your podcast or heard you speak, but I'm just absolutely loving this.
Tune in.
Rosanna says, loving it. People are giving you lots of hearts and likes. I think they love you, and you're just so you're so willing to go there and share your story.
Mean, it's life. It's life, and then I feel like sometimes you need to share so they can really know who you are. You know, one of the things that I live by, it's a quote by Maya Angelou, and when I heard this quote, that's me.
Yeah.
I said, damn, it brought chills to me, and my hair stood up on my arm. She said, people may forget what you said, people may forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Right.
It's me. You know, and that's how I've always been that person, regardless of who I am to you in your eyes or what you've seen me do. I'm going to treat you like I want to be treated. I'm no bigger than you, just a person that my profession led me to something a little different than yours.
Yeah.
And whether I want to sit there and say being a pro athlete means that I'm supposed to, sit around and toot my own horn or not. No, I'm just fortunate. And I understand, I've been that guy sitting in that window of that car or that Cutlass watching people be fortunate. And I'm like, I want that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So at the end of the day, what makes me different? I worked just like them. However they got it, I did the same thing. So I just appreciate life because it teaches you so much. And the only way you learn from it is by going through it. You know what I'm saying? Like I can honestly say that whatever my mom and my dad didn't have, they gave us everything, so eventually we can give them.
Right.
That's what you do to your kids. You say, and they didn't live through everything we did. They didn't say, you need to go out here and be a pro. You need to go out. No.
Right.
Be a kid. Have fun. But at the end of the day, I'm going to show you what I want you to have. I'm going to show you the greater things. I tell my brothers them all the time, do y'all remember when Dad used to come home from work and he'd be like, get in the car. And we go off. And we ride in Coconut Grove, Pembroke Pines, and we just look at houses.
And these were like rich neighborhoods in Florida.
Rich neighborhoods. He said, and my dad was working for Florida Power and Light. He was the guy that either turned your lights on or turned them off. He said, I worked over here today and I want to bring y'all over here. I want to show y'all these houses. I want y'all to take it in. So I'd sit in there and be like, I want it. I want it. And I'd go out there and work for it. And I didn't know football was going to be the thing, but it was my thing before I knew I can really make a living from it. You know what I'm saying? It was the one thing that I felt like if you had to ask me 25 times from the age of 6 to the age of 18 what I wanted to be when I grew up, I was going to tell you a professional football player. From day one, I knew that was me. And I've heard so much, oh, you ain't going to do it. Oh, you can't do it. And guess what? Watch me. because I've done did all that I was told that I couldn't, or I done came as far as that I see people that couldn't. You know what I'm saying? I watch guys that was either better on or on the same caliber that fell off because they didn't have the same mindset. So that's why I just enjoy being me, because I understand you grow from what you experience. If you don't experience it, you ain't gonna grow.
When is your motivational tour starting? Because I really need a ticket. Seriously, you could take over for Tony Robbins. Okay, so like, what's the goal for you, by the way? Because P.S., I could see you replacing like Steve Harvey. Like I'm getting these Steve Harvey vibes.
I don't even know,
like
man.
you are so motivational.
I never look.
Holy shit! That's a side of you I've never seen.
My thing that I like about just being able to live is just as long as I'm going upward, you know, I don't have a goal up there that say I want to reach.
Really?
I just want to continue to climb, you know. To me, I don't feel like it's nowhere you can really say I'm at the peak. I'm at the top. It's no top. It's just like it's up there. That ladder just goes, you know. So I don't have a goal up there, but I've always strived for the best. And that's my thing. You know, people tell you want 100, being a player, a guy will say, I'm going to the game with this mindset. I want 100 yards. I want this. I want 5 catches. I want a touchdown. Nah, I want to put the work in through the week. So whatever happens Sunday is going to be great. Regardless of what happens, I'm going to give you my all because I put the work in. And that's all I do. I work my behind off and I grind to a different beat, you know? And I feel like when I do that, I should be rewarded.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I just think that, you know, look, I want to take questions. People, I put up yesterday that you were going to be on. Tons of people had questions. AJ, can you hand me my cell phone? And by the way, I meant to give this to you at the start. Now, as I mentioned, you need to be listening to the Santana Moss show. You have a very successful podcast.
Appreciate that.
Travis Thomas is your co-host. You guys are great together. You have great chemistry.
He's a guy.
And I wanted you to feel comfortable on today's show. You're sponsored by Paisano, so I got you a pizza.
Big time pizzas.
You have a big sponsorship.
Oh my God! So
I got you. I heard peppers and sausage was your favorite pizza.
You know what? Today's a cheat day. Just for you.
Today's a cheat day.
Last night, look, I was with the guys who own Paisano's, Fuad and Iman and all those guys, and they was talking about, come on, Tanner, you want me to order a pizza for you? And I'm like, no, I don't want to cheat tonight because I ain't gonna be able to run it off. And they like, darn, man, I wish I had that kind of discipline. I'm like, look, brother, I'm only gonna cheat when I know I can run it off or do something with it. So guess what? This would be ran off.
Well,
today.
I tuned into your show. I hear you guys mention Paisanos, and I thought, well, I don't want you to come here and feel uncomfortable. So I got you Cheetos. I got you a Paisanos pizza, so we can give them.
You all right, man. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I liked you way before the pizza, but I'm just gonna let you know I appreciate that.
Well, to be honest, producer AJ was the one. It was her idea.
AJ.
So AJ was.
Oh, thanks for the shout out.
She really had your back, and we were like, you know what? We got to give you that. People want to know if you've ever considered, or would you ever consider coaching? That's from Lena. She wants to know if you've ever coached.
Great. No, I do. And I think, honestly, I went to school to be a teacher. So my first degree was, I went through my whole undergrad when I say I got all the way to my senior year and to the last month. And they told me, they said, hey, you have all your credits. I went and taught, while I was, playing ball. Everything I had to do to be a teacher to get that undergrad, I did that. The only class I missed through my traveling was Spanish 2. And they said, well, look here. You can either come back and graduate, or you can take the Spanish 2 now. Look, I can't take Spanish 2 now. How can I get out these doors with a diploma? They said, well, we could just say you're going to be a liberal arts major. It still has all the qualifications to be a teacher. So take liberal arts and go out these doors with your degree. And if you want to come back and get that Spanish 2, it don't matter because you can still be a teacher with liberal arts. So I went to school to be a teacher because I knew coaching might be in my future. I didn't want to be in no one's class, probably teaching kids, which I did a great job at it when I had a chance to. I know through my mentor programs and the things I do with kids outside of, my everyday walk, I know I can be that person, but coaching is definitely something I want to go down that line. Right now, it's too early for me.
Yeah, you got a lot on your plate.
But the opportunity, when it comes, if it's something that I can't turn away from or turn down, I would definitely consider it.
Monica runs a women's football league. She says, how do you feel about women playing tackle football?
I don't disagree with women having the equal rights to do whatever they want. I think that, hey, if they can do it, then let them do it. I know it's certain leagues that I've watched, the lingerie league and, And to be honest with you,
a lot safer.
I don't know if that's the safest you can go because they look like they have nothing on. So depends on what league you're in. Pad up. Just put on pants, everything, because I don't want to be on there watching you for the wrong reason. I don't like watching football with butt cheeks out and your
tatas hanging out.
Tatas hanging out your bras or whatever it is. I mean, I understand. Hey, you got to attract your viewers some kind of way, but I don't know if I'm all for that one. But
this may be look. If you want to skip this one, it might be too political for you. But Brian wants to know if you were playing today, would you kneel?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, Brian, I don't have no reason of talking about that. I'm all for the guys that is for the cause of just trying to bring what they're trying to bring, to the awareness of others. I'm all for those guys. The Colin Kaepernicks, the guys who, initially started this thing. I'm all for it. The one thing I have about that is, what's the appropriate time to do it? I just feel that once it was addressed, when it was addressed earlier, when everything got out the door, I feel like enough is enough at times, Don't get me wrong. Stand for what you stand for. I'm all for that. But now it's time to go work. Let's find a way that we can, talk about this to get what we're trying to get across settled and really, what I've seen now. Because now you see the policemen and all the different, people of that nature is speaking out about it. I feel like we have grown so far from where it came from. I just don't like to see it being in that negative light. I hate the fact that if I was in today's game still, and don't word me wrong, if I was in today's game, it would be hard for me to be a guy to just be on my knee because I just want to be on my knee and knowing they're going to just talk about that all day. I want to stand for something, which I stand for what they're standing for, but at the same time, let's do it away from what we're trying to do because I want my mind to be on ball. I want my mind to be on being the best I can be out there for my team. So I think I would be a guy that I probably have been all for the kneel when it was time. I would have probably kneeled. And then once it's over, and it's never really been over because it's been brought back to front with the president and his remarks and his comments. But I just feel like, to me, this thing is getting old. So we need to find a way where we can solve it and move on from it.
Well, and by the way, we don't edit on this podcast. All airs.
Yeah, no
but
doubt.
I think that's a great answer.
That's real. I mean, that's as real as I could come with. I mean, I just feel like, yes, it's appropriate. So if he asked me the question, is it appropriate? I feel like, yes, it was appropriate for them to do that.
Sure, yep.
And now they got the message out. So now let's go play football. Let's not let it be something that they make a mockery of every week. I hate when you see the cameras, they ready to see something negative and say, this guy nailed it, this guy nailed it. Let's go play football, man, and put that behind us. And then we'll deal with whatever the remarks and the comments later. But as long as we're addressing the situation, I'm all for that.
Jeff wants to know, Sean Taylor, R.I.P. But I would like to know, would Santana, if he were still alive, if Sean Taylor were still alive, does Santana think that he would still be a Redskin?
No doubt.
Really?
No doubt. He the greatest Redskin ever suited up. The team will probably be at the state where we at now. When it comes to, probably had a lot more, postseason appearances. Excuse me. Sean Taylor meant so much to our secondary. We've been missing that guy. We missed him so much to where now we're starting to get a glimpse of that from Swearinger. I truly believe that Swearinger, I can't say Swearinger is a Sean Taylor, but he has that mojo. He has that swag. And Sean was a guy, he was soft-spoken. People look at him on the field and they feared him because of how hard he hit you and how he looked at you without saying anything to you. You were just scared of him. But he was a so soft-spoken guy, man, off the field and just cared so much about his daughter and just being right. He was a guy that really had made a change. And
that story was just
I hate the fact that he was taken from us so soon because it was so much more that he could accomplish, man. That year alone, he was having his best year.
Yeah.
And he was hurt. He was laying on the table next to me. I had a hamstring. He had a knee. And I was getting back out on the field the weekend that he passed, I just got back healthy. And I remember we made our last little, remarks to each other in the training room. And then that day before we went to Tampa, me, him, and Portis, we all sat by each other. They had the same lockers right next to each other. And he basically told us bye. And we like, we'll see you Monday. See you when we get back.
Wow.
And that was that's why it tore me up so much because
there's something very ominous about that.
All the deaths I experienced from family members, loved ones, you shed a tear here and there. Let's be honest. But that thing broke me down.
Really?
It broke me down because that was the first time in life I really felt like, man, we neglect what this life really is to us. We don't appreciate what the true meaning of life is until someone is gone. And I just saw something different about that dude the whole entire week. And for him to be gone, it was like I was getting those signs throughout the week that something was different. Then boom. So, you know, and so it broke me down so much till it was years before I can like really talk about it without tearing up. You know, like I'm cool now because I really think of great thoughts of him and just knowing that, man, he changed a lot in me. He did. He changed a lot in me just because, I went to the games with just playing. I played because I was gifted, you know, and I played because I worked so hard and I'm out here doing it. But after he passed, I went to games like, man, this is for somebody who I feel like this team needs right now. Like, we're desperate for a guy, his presence. And I used to talk up to him. Like, I kid you not, we used to be in situations where I knew Sean was with me playing with me.
Right.
I would literally know that I'm going on the field right now, defense made a stop, and I talk to him. Come with me, bro. Let's go.
Wow.
Let's go. And I would go out there and make a play, and I just, pick up. Because I'm like, man, at the end of the day, I've made plenty of plays in my life, so I know I can make the play. But it was a time when I had to be heroic, and I needed somebody. And I used to talk to him like, man, before every game, hey, I'm playing every year for you. As long as they allow me to lace these cleats up, this is for you. I'm gonna go out here and play with that tenacity that I don't give a F about the next person because I knew that's how your mind was. And at the same time, I'm gonna walk off here, and when it's all said and done, I'm gonna go back to being the guy who I was. He was one of those guys that he really put a cape on when he touched the field. He was a different man.
Wow. You were just like so spiritual, motivational. I love it. I'm looking forward to your summit. I can't wait. I'm buying a front row seat. I have one last question for you because I think, a lot of people write into this show and a lot of people get rejection. You obviously went through it for years. And like you said, you had some really difficult moments in your childhood. What's the one thing that you would tell people, if they're looking to become an entrepreneur, if they're looking to become the best in their field? What is that one thing that you think has made you so successful?
So the one thing I would tell people, and I tell a lot of the kids this: stop looking for someone to tell you what you're going to be, or how you should go get something.
Wow.
Know what it is you want and go get it. The only way you can go get it is by putting that first foot forward. And to be honest with you, I remember there was a time when, and this I'm always relate things to this my career. I remember it was a time where when I was playing, I was young, I was in high school, and I sat in the back of the class with these guys, they were upperclassmen, and they said, on the loud PA speaker, they said, hey, football trials tomorrow, la la la, bring your report cards. You can't sign up if you don't show your report card. And I had two guys in the back, and they told me, so I was like, oh yeah, I got to make sure I bring my report card. The guy heard me whisper that, and he like, man, I was probably like 5'2", not even. I was in 10th grade, about 5'2", and the guy say, man, what you play? And I say, I play receiver. Who you play for? And I was like, I play for Scott Park. He was like, man, you ain't gonna do this, and you ain't. And then I remember the guys just getting on me, and they was two good dudes that I was real close to. And I'm like, well, you'll see. And I'm always been that cat that like, man, I don't care about what the hell you talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm bigger than that. I never been moved by what you tell me. You know what I'm saying? That don't move me. I'm like, bruh, you gotta understand what I grew up in and what I saw. You know what I'm saying? The things I saw, I shouldn't be here today because I shouldn't have seen it and be able to live on. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I was always moved in a different way, and challenges, I didn't like them, but when they was presented to me, let's go. You know what I'm saying? And it was always quiet. It wasn't nothing to be boasting about. Go. He just added fuel to my fire. You know what I'm saying? And I remember that guy, he was on the team, and he saw me out there in that uniform, and after 2 plays of that practice, now I'm his best buddy. He told me, hey, come here, you come over here and sit over here, little Tanner. Hey, boy, y'all saw that boy out there today? And they just knew it was a different aura. And then there was a couple of guys around me that felt the same way. And they were like, man, we've been knowing that kid since he was yay high, man. We knew it was gonna be that. So I say that because people feel like they have to live up to the circumstances that surround them.
Right.
No, that's one of the reasons why me and Carmen do what we do with, 89 Ways to Give. We want to reach these kids that's distracted from their true destiny. They look at the surroundings and say, look, that's all I got. That's all we going to have. Mama ain't doing nothing. I got to go work, and then I can't go out and live my dreams. No. Help mama, however you got to do it, and still pursue those dreams. Still put that foot forward, because if you give in, then you're going to give in to any and everything that happened to you in life. And just trust me, this life is long and hard. You know, I tell my kids all the time, it ain't shit for free out here.
Yeah.
It ain't nothing for free, you know?
That's the God's honest.
At the end of the day, why should I walk around with my hand out? Go get it. If you want something bad enough, you go get it. And that's what I tell people, man. You can be with anything you want to be in life. Yeah, it's cliche. Everybody, oh, man, I heard that a million times. But guess what? You ain't been trying. You ain't been trying. And just because you didn't succeed today don't mean you ain't going to succeed 2 years from now. You know? And everybody look at this world now. It's so, you know, Instagram and social media, period, shows you not the true meaning of what it is to go get something. You see people having, you like, how did he get it so fast?
It's all
I want
fake.
that car too.
I know.
That. They be straight here trying to kill themselves, not knowing, I'm going to type in and see how he got his success. No, you wasting time on getting yours.
Yep.
You wasting time.
Right.
At the end of the day, look, I'm going to like that picture because, boy, he doing it. And then I'm going to go out here and pursue mine and do mine, you know? So
oh my God,
that's how I do it,
love
man.
you. You have just blown my mind. I knew we would have like a great conversation, but I cannot wait to see where your broadcasting career goes. You're so motivational. And I think, you know, for someone to achieve all the success that you have and be so humble and so willing to share what you know, I mean, I could just talk about you all day. I think you're awesome. I really appreciate, I know you're a busy man, busy father, for being on this podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Oh my God. I mean, I'm just like so like motivated.
I'm ready to tear this pizza up now.
Thanks to Paisanos.
Big time pizzas.
Definitely check out the Santana Moss Show. As I mentioned, you can find Santana Moss's podcast on iTunes. You guys are on Spotify. You're basically on anywhere and everywhere that you can download a podcast. We're just so excited for your future. I can't wait. And like when you're seriously Tony Robbins, you better still come back on this podcast. I want all your secrets.
Hey, look, one thing about me, I don't forget nobody.
I guess. Oh my God.
Forget nobody.
Thank you so much for being on. Seriously.
It's a pleasure.
I do have to thank our sponsors. We have to thank Mervis Diamond. They're amazing. Thank you for sponsoring the Hey Frase podcast. They are the top place in DC if you're in the market for an engagement ring or, of course, a wedding band. You can go to mervisdiamond.com. They have 3 locations in the DC area. You can go check them out on K Street, Rockville, and in Tyson's Corner. And then BioClarity. BioClarity has an awesome new deal for all of our listeners. Brand new Floralux is out. If you've probably heard me talk about it. I found the great clean and green skincare line. It helps naturally for my skin to glow. I love the Floralux because it has chlorophyll, which is all the juicy ingredients that help plants replenish and grow. They have 2 different skincare routines as well as masks, so you should pick one up. Their clarifying mask is amazing from BioClarity's Pure Purifier, and then also their clear skin routine and essentials. BioClarity.com. My listeners get 15% off their entire first purchase, plus shipping is free when you buy a routine, and it comes 100% risk-free money-back guarantee. But you need to enter code FRASE. That's BioClarity.com. Enter code FRASE. All right, Age. I feel like, is there anything else we need to cover? Anything else for Santana Moss? We got to get him some BioClarity. I mean, he already has great skin, but like, you know what? I'll definitely get your routine. What do you think? You got more dry skin or like
dry?
Dry?
Man, look,
okay,
I swear, if I don't moisturize, boy, I'll be looking like I'm about to crack up around this thing.
Okay, we'll definitely get you the extra moisturizer. Okay,
let me have
it. We'll definitely put an order in. You guys have a great week. We'll be back next week. Bye, everybody.
See ya.